The building I've got in front of me was here during the Second World War, and thus it was a witness to a particularly brutal massacre which took place in the courtyard behind it. On the 15th of June 1940, the Soviet Union occupied Lithuania. This was in agreement with the terms between Molotov and Ribbentrop, dividing up this part of Europe between the two of them. Indeed, Lithuania was originally to have gone to Nazi Germany, but Stalin changed his mind, asked Hitler for a swap, and thus the Nazis got Poland between the Vistula and the Bug, and the Soviets got Lithuania. On the 22nd of June 1941, Operation Barbarossa, the invasion of the Soviet Union. Kovno, Kaunas, was the capital, or had been the capital of Lithuania in the interwar period. And as a result, this was sort of the home, the capital, or the buildings of government and all the rest of it were here. Also, there was a rather large Jewish population also here. There was a revolt in Kaunas as from the 23rd of June, which meant to say that the Soviets fled. Some of them actually came to this building here to see if they could pick up any transport that would take them out of Lithuania, or at least out of the city. Of course, there was a mad rush probably for transport. Kaunas had been bombed, and so they weren't able to get out. Mind you, it wasn't just communists that wanted to get out. Jews had a particularly good reason to get out as well. I think to some extent Jews were aware of what was going on. This was news would have been brought by refugees, even though that the communists and the Nazis had this alliance between themselves, and little negative was published in the Soviet press about what was going on in Nazi-occupied Poland. The events that happened here on the 27th are somewhat confused, to say the least. And the more I look at it, and this is by using the eyewitness accounts, it's very difficult to know exactly what happened. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that there were Jewish people here who were brutally beaten to death. There's claims that they were communists, but looking at the backgrounds, a couple of them were school kids. Others had small businesses. So I don't think that there may have been communists amongst them. They mightn't all have been Jewish. The pogrom itself might have been done by Walter Franz Stahlecker. He was definitely here at the time. He flew in. He didn't even take normal transport, and he had tried to arrange a pogrom. Indeed, it would seem that there were certain Lithuanians who actually refused to do it. The attitude of the Lithuanian Activists Front, which had a sort of provisional government which it set up. Also, there are those who undoubtedly are highly anti-Semitic. There was a lot of very vicious anti-Semitic propaganda coming from Berlin, above all. I've done a separate video on this, but to say that it was entirely anti-Semitic, everybody was that doesn't seem to be the case. I am somewhat confused by what actually happened behind this building, so I don't really quite know what to make of it. There's a theory that there were two locations, and I'm going to look at that as well. Now, there's no doubt about some of the photographs which were taken by Germans. Others, though, may well have been doctored to blame certain people. Above all, a person who was called the Dealer of Death. He's in one photograph holding a long metal bar. Appears to have a blonde wig on him. He was never identified. There's even been said to have been Joachim Hamann. I've done a video on him, head of the Rollkommando. Now, it's undoubtedly, for example, the Lithuanian Holocaust. You're looking at around 207,000 Jews here on the 22nd of June 1941, of whom some 3/4 were no longer alive by the end of the year. I have no doubt about that one, that the Rollkommando Hamann went round from one village to another. There's only around 10 Austrians and Germans in it, and then they were mainly Lithuanians, the Lithuanian Activist Front, the white armbands, something's called partisans because they rebelled against the Soviets. They were the ones doing the shooting. But I don't know, the story that happened here, it just, anyway, it doesn't make much sense to me. I've written down everything I can find on it using the original documents as much as possible, and I'm going to try and do some longer video on the subject. Anyway, good. Inside the next building, there's another one behind it. That I think is actually post communist period. And the garage is, you go through there and you come into the garage, and there's a little memorial there to what actually happened, with sign up in Lithuanian and in Yiddish. And anyway, so that gives a quick idea. I've spent some time now here in Lithuania. I've spent some time, 4 days I've been here. Unfortunately, it has rained for a large amount of that time. It's going to pour down again now, so I'm going to have to get back to my vehicle. It's somewhat difficult actually to film in the rain, because as you can tell from other videos I've filmed in the rain, and I'm no longer prepared to use a gimbal in the rain at all. I've got to say though, on here in Lithuania, there's lots of comments, lots of stones, I should say, memorials, signs, information about the Holocaust and what happened here. And for example, in the ghetto area as well, it's very well done. There's not a great deal of original buildings, but then again, there's probably more now in Warsaw, for example. Anyway, so there's a nice park, and there's a symbol from the past. So good, thanks for watching. I'll upload a longer video on this subject. I've done various things in the last year. I've done a number of things about the criminals from the Nazi criminals on Stahlecker and others, so I've got quite a lot of information. As far as Stahlecker was concerned, I even went to his home village, Sternenfels. So anyway, good. Thanks for watching. Upload every day now at 2000 hours. But for the moment, from me, Kaunas, Lithuania. Bye for now.